Welcome, Drink with James, episode 90, episode 90. I was confused. Drink with James, episode 90. I don't know if you guys saw, today, meaning the day that I'm filming this, not the day it's being released, we released the Drink with James search engine. I've been getting a lot of messages about it. You people love it. That's not super surprising. It is every episode transcribed, searchable. You can go to the, you could type, okay, so sorry. Every episode transcribed, searchable. You can type in Instagram. You can go to a place where I mentioned it. It goes to the question where I mentioned that in the video, so you don't have to skip around anymore. So hopefully a resource y'all like. We also have, is our first guest of the year?
Yeah.
We also have our first guest of the year next week that we're filming with. You guys have been asking for this individual to be on the show for as long as this has been a show. So I think you're gonna have like, your mind will be blown. You'll be exploding. There's gonna be brains everywhere. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be fantastic. I am drinking out of some very strange but cool glasses from Sarah Luhu. She's a new beauty blogger from Florida. She's gained 300,000 followers in a year. Crazy growth, crazy engagement. If you haven't checked her out, check her out. It's always inspiring to see accounts that are still growing quickly, because I feel y'all, it is really hard to grow. This stuff is not easy anymore. But it is nice to see people who are experiencing that explosive growth, just to prove that it's still possible, right? We're all chasing that. We're chasing that product market fit, as we've talked about before. Sarah definitely has it. Teza, who we talked about before, has it. She's gained 52,000 followers this month. That's what we're chasing. That's hopefully what some of this advice will help us get. Let's go into questions.
How do you feel about sharing the spotlight next week?
Oh, you know, I feel fine sharing the spotlight. The guest that we have is a drinker, just like me. So we're gonna get along fine. We're gonna be much better lit, which is very nice. We're stepping things up a notch or two. So I feel like her star will just make me shine even brighter. So I'm excited about it. Going to Florida this weekend to see my dad. Yeah. My family doesn't like relax, so we have a lot going on. There was no relaxing. I'm sure I won't see the beach. My dad is down in Fort Lauderdale. But maybe go take a flying lesson. So I may die. This may be the last Drink with James ever. And this might be published post-mortem, which would be not really the obituary that I'd be looking for, but I guess I'll take it, Okay, how many sponsored posts are enough? I see too many influencers having too many sponsored content. Looks like an infomercial. Any suggestions on how to avoid? Well, suggestions on how to avoid too much sponsored content would be do less sponsored content. That is the short answer. If you feel like you are getting so many offers to do sponsored content and your feed is starting to feel a little inauthentic, just raise your prices. That's probably the easiest thing to do. That will self-sort the opportunities, and it's a good way to kind of raise your prices, because look, the world is built on simple supply and demand, right? And if more companies want to buy sponsored posts from you than you are willing to give them, then naturally the price for those posts goes up, right? So if the first brand ever who wants to do a sponsored post with you reaches out, well, you have a lot of supply but almost no demand, so that price is going to be pretty low. But if you're getting 100 emails a week for sponsored content, then you raise those prices up to kind of, separate those brands that are really serious from the ones who are less serious. So that's certainly one suggestion. Another would be, I think that increasingly it's super important to just work with those brands that you really love and that you can speak to authentically. Also know that this is it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you're trying to build a sustainable business over the course of years. that can be a fulfilling career, not how much money can I make in the next 2 months, right? And so you want to focus on that. If you've built an audience of 50,000, let's say, that takes a lot of work, as you know. And so then to ruin that and to lose your authenticity, to make a little bit more money, it doesn't make any sense. Again, you think about this stuff in lifetime value. If you can make, over the course of the next 5 years, $500,000 from your Instagram account, if you can keep an authentic audience that believes what you're saying and they listen to you and they respect you and they look to you for advice, or I can make $100,000 in the next 3 months, blow it out of the water, and nobody's going to believe me anymore, and my audience is going to start not paying attention, my engagement's going to go down, brands aren't going to go work with me. So then over the same 5 years, maybe you only make $250,000, right? Again, marathon, not a sprint. Focus on the long term, build a sustainable business. I wouldn't go over 40%, 50% absolute max for sponsored content. For me, I'm more comfortable in the feeds that I look at around 25%. But you know, that's up to you. It's different. You know, some beauty influencers I think can do more because it's so product driven than maybe a lifestyle influencer could. So for every feed, it's going to be a little different. Find your sweet spot, stay under that sweet spot. Don't push it too far. You can never go back, right? You can be authentic, 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 authentic. Once you swing to inauthentic, you can't come back to authentic. It's never going to work. Yeah, it's a good question. I wouldn't suggest balancing out your feed by just posting a shitload more. You know, if you usually post 30 photos a month and then you start getting sponsored, you want to do 15 deals a month, I wouldn't then post 45 times a month. That's not the solution. The solution is not to post 15 sponsored posts in a month if you want to keep it balanced. So that doesn't really work, I don't think, because most people now are posting just once a day. I think any more than that is kind of strange and doesn't work that well. So yeah, you keep it balanced by just doing less sponsored content and charging more. How should I respond to a brand? They've asked me to provide images with no obligation for posting. How should I reply? What should I expect to be paid? Okay, so say you're an influencer, you get 25,000 followers, brand reaches out and they say, I want 10 images from you. You don't have to post any of them, but we want to post them on our feed. What would you charge? It's a tough question. A few things to think about. One, is your face going to be in it? And does that preclude you from working with other brands in the space, right? So if your face is going to be in it, they're using your likeness, you're going to have to charge a little bit more. And I'm speaking on the, you know, if you're at 300K and someone wants to do that, I would probably not do it if I were you. I don't think it's worth it. I think a brand having those images, it's going to probably screw up the deals that you are working on in the future. You don't want to be in the middle of a deal with Listerine and Colgate, who you gave images to 6 months ago, post it the day that your Listerine campaign comes out. Like, it's gonna complicate things too much. Now, as a micro influencer, I think it's a nice way to supplement your income. I would try to, where you can, keep your likeness out of it, keep your face out of it. If you can't, I would put a time period on it. Say, okay, I'll give you 10 photos. You can use them for the next 3 months. Brands shouldn't want to use them for much longer than that because the product comes in and out of store so often that it's not going to be applicable for much longer than that. So 3 months, they can use it on social. And then 10 images, I might charge them, what I would charge for a sponsored post. Now for micros as well, nice way to upsell. Brand comes to you and says, I want a sponsored post. You have 25,000 followers. I'm going to give you $250, let's say. You could say, cool, how about $500 and I'll do that post and give you 10 photos for you to use on your feed. So it's a nice way to potentially upsell. I think you can charge, for 10 photos, I think you could charge what you would charge for a sponsored post. But try and lump it in. Make sure you have the usage rights set at 3 months. If they wanted 6 months, I would probably just do another 1.5x or 2x what you would normally charge for a post. for the brand. So, but if you're much bigger, I wouldn't do something like that without having a pretty clear understanding of usage rights, what they're going to use it, how long they're going to use it. Does this preclude you from other deals? What are the other deals you're working on? You know, if it's a toothpaste brand and you've never done a toothpaste campaign before and you don't think you're ever going to do a toothpaste campaign again, then that brand using the photos for 6 months isn't as big of a deal as if it is a long-wear foundation and there's 10 other brands that you could work with on long-wear foundation campaigns, but this, you know, them having these images is going to preclude you from being able to do that because of exclusivity. So yeah, I mean, if I was a micro and let's say I had 20,000 followers and I said, I'll give you 10 images for $500 and they said, we only have 250, then I would insist on being tagged in all of them. Generally, the way it worked with me when I was shooting is that if they paid me, I didn't expect to be tagged because they're paying for it. Those are their images. Cool. And it might make your life easier if they don't tag you as far as working with other brands. But if they have a large number of followers and they can't pay you what you want, I would insist on tagging. Okay, last one. Is it important to post at the same time every day? Do we think the algorithm favors consistency in posting times? Okay. Does time of day matter anymore? This used to be a huge thing in the influencer community. When was the best time to post? We had a tool that did this. There was whole businesses that were just kind of built around, you know, helping you understand what time of day was best for you to post. Do I think it matters anymore? I think it matters a lot less than it used to because the algorithm serves things up in its own special way, as you all know. Honestly, I don't know. I lean towards saying it doesn't matter. You know, I've posted stuff at 11 p.m. and been like, this is not going to get anything, and it does really well. I posted stuff at 8:30 when stuff used to do really well, and it doesn't. The thing that's really hard with a question like that is that you're never going to get a 100% A/B test. It's not like you can have the same exact account post the same exact photo at different times and have that audience see it itself at the same time. You know, it's almost impossible to test. And so we start to build habits and then we build justifications for those habits. Oh, I posted something at 11 p.m. on a Friday. It did really well. I'm going to post at 11 p.m. on Friday every week. But maybe it's just that specific post did really well because that specific post was really good. And that post would have done well at 8:30 in the morning or 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So because of that, it's really difficult. And even when we built the tool that showed time of day to post, it was self-perpetuating in its conclusions because if you're like, I post at 8:30 every day, well then that's where all the data comes from. And then it says, okay, well, you know, it looks like your posts from 8:30 do really well. Now, again, let's say you post one photo at 11 a.m. and it goes gangbusters and huge engagement, right? Because it's you announcing you're having a baby. And then 6 months later, you're looking at the graph and says, oh my gosh, 11 a.m. on Mondays is a really good time for me. Well, no, it's not. It's that baby announcements do really well. So it was always a tenuous data relationship between time of day to post and performance. I think, yeah, you can think about when is my audience on the platform. That is certainly important. Don't post at 2 in the morning necessarily. But with the algorithm, we don't have total control over when your photos get served. So focus on creating great content that's going to get the engagement that you need to get the algorithm to flip in your favor.
I'm just curious question. What's the latest you've ever seen a photo be served kind of like relatively new? Like, I've seen like 5 or 6 days.
I think the latest I've seen is like 5 or 6 days. Yeah, it was like I was seeing Super Bowl posts like 5 or 6 days after. You know, I think some of it is that you don't notice because they're not timely. Most posts in people's feeds, you don't have any real idea of, like that post is not timely. It's just like, here's a photo of me. Okay, that could be yesterday, that could be 2 days ago. You know, like you could have, sure it's snowing in that photo and it hasn't snowed in 2 days, but maybe you just posted a snow photo today. So like, it's hard to know. So it's really when people are posting about timely things, I think that you notice the algorithm more. And I noticed a bunch of people tweeting and Insta-storying about the algorithm in the week after the Super Bowl because it was so obvious that people were posting about the Super Bowl, but it was being served, you know, days and days later. I noticed the same thing at New Year's Eve as well, like Happy New Year posts on the 5th.
Does that bother you at all, like to see a post like on the New Year's Day post on the 5th? I'm just now curious.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I am not that bothered by the algorithm, honestly. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty simple. It says like, who do you engage with? And Instagram has, whatever they're showing you, they have so much more data than that. You know, they know the people whose posts you pause on and sit there. I'm sure they fucking know that. And I'm sure if I was building the algorithm, that would be a part of it. Did you stop when you were scrolling through your feed? Did you stop on this photo and did it look like you read it? They have more data than, certainly a lot more data than they're serving to us. You know, I don't know. I think it works, you know, and look, my livelihood's not based on it. I mean, my company is, but like my personal livelihood is not based on the algorithm. I guarantee, I mean, I just wish I could shake people. Because people are like, nobody's seeing my posts. You know, like my followers don't see my posts ever. They tell me that. They DM me and they say, I don't see my post. They wouldn't fucking see your post if there was no algorithm. They wouldn't see it. Because if you posted something at 10 p.m. and that motherfucker logs in at 4 p.m. the next day, you think they're going through 24 hours of posts to get to your 10 p.m. post? There's no way. There's a much better chance that the algorithm knows that they like your content, serves you the 10 p.m. post when they log in at 4 p.m. rather than having to go back fucking 24 hours to see it. It's just, it would be vastly worse. Instagram is so much bigger than it used to be, and people follow more people, and they need to figure out a way to be able to filter that content. It can't just be like an endless stream. You would never get through it. And you know, again, people could do things like, okay, I'm gonna post 15 times in a row. And now the first 15 photos are from me. Well, fuck that, that's bullshit. I don't wanna see that. That's not something I wanna see. Like, I would like Instagram to be like, no, we're not really serving up 14 of those photos because like, that's like hacking, you know, again. So I think on the whole it's better. I'll hear arguments for how it's not, but the thing is, most of the arguments of why it's not better come from people who have a big following on Instagram and feel like people aren't seeing their posts. But again, I bet if we switch back to chronological, it would be worse. Actually, I know it would be because engagement is up 33%. It's the highest it's ever been. More people are liking and commenting on influencers' posts as a percentage, not as a total number, than ever before. So it is working. So you guys can please just stop. Or go on fucking Vero, whatever the hell it's called. Go there. There's 3 people on it. Enjoy. You can get 13 cents for a sponsored post. It's the other fucking thing. A lot of you have incredible lives because of this platform. You should be throwing yourselves at the feet of Kevin and Mark Zuckerberg and thanking them for building a fucking platform that allows you to travel the world, do what you want with almost no professional training, make sometimes hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, get into fucking Chanel shows, not pay for hotels, fly private. What? Because you post photos on it's just like, you should be naming your fucking children Instagram. If you have a boy, you should name it Kevin. Like, there should just be so much love for this app. It has fundamentally changed your life, and all I hear is just moaning. Instagram sucks. It's so annoying. Do you understand that, like, most people will work 50 years and never be as successful as most of the people that are watching this show? Never make that much money. And like, this is a fucking gift. And the amount of money and time and the hustle to get a platform to be as dominant as Instagram. For Instagram to be able to have beat Snapchat the way that they did is fucking staggering. And if Instagram was not as smart as they were, and if Facebook wasn't as good as they were, Snapchat would have beaten them. If Snapchat would have beaten them, you guys would not be making half the money you're making today, because it would be spread across different platforms. Snapchat was full of young people. Instagram is a little bit older. So half of that money would have been going somewhere else. Nobody's paying for Snapchat anymore. You know, like, there should just be so much more love and gratitude for this app, this free app, that thousands of people work on, that you get to build a career on, and all you do is complain. I don't understand it. I'm so sick of it. It's crazy. So have a good weekend.